What's up, guys? Welcome to today's episode of Big South Outdoors TV. What are we doing today? We're talking carburetors. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any content. So, what am I talking about today? We're talking carburetors, generally carburetor replacement. So, stick around. It's going to be informative. It's going to be a little hectic. It's going to be a little tedious, but we're going to get into it and get it done. This is my pressure washer, and I got on a job Tuesday, and it would crank, but it would not run. Now this carburetor right here is what I'm going to be working on. I'm not going to be working on it. I'm going to be replacing it. This is a factory match aftermarket carburetor. I got it off of Amazon. It was $18 and it was prime. I will put a link in the description below for the list on Amazon. Just for clarification, this pressure washer is not an Excel. This is a different frame that I found that this motor would actually fit on. This pressure washer would actually fit on. This is actually a Craftsman pressure washer. I got it from a customer. They wanted to do some wheeling and dealing, some trading. So they traded me some work for the pressure washer, which I desperately needed at the time. I'm gonna try to take you step by step through the process of what to do, how to do, and when to do, and we'll get this carburetor put on, and then we're gonna try to crank it on camera. First of all, you gotta take this plate off. You gotta find the right socket to fit. There's two bolts in here, and they're kind of diagonal from each other like that. So that's it right there. That is a 8mm. I don't like using sockets because sockets have a tendency to over torque. What I do, I find me a screwdriver that'll fit in that socket really taut like that, and I just break them loose and take them off with a screwdriver. Some people call it redneck. I call it ingenuity. Before you take anything like this apart, you always take a picture of it up close. That way you know where all your linkage goes, all your hoses go, and everything else. That way when you go to put it back together, if you need a reference point, you've got it. This plate right here, this is the air filter holder, but it serves two purposes. It comes up in here, and this right here is basically what gives your engine, it creates vacuum and actually pulls, is gravity fed, but it also aids in pulling the fuel to the carburetor. So you just store that back there out of the way. You don't have to disconnect anything with that. Then you make sure your fuel's turned off. Now you're gonna have some gas leakage. You can't stop that. I'm gonna have to go to my work truck and get my pliers. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with my trusty pair of pliers here. Got the fuel turned off. Now, you take your hose and you spin it around like that, where you can get to the little squeeze clamp. You pull the squeeze clamp up. The hose is already broke loose, so it should just pop right off. A little wiggling here. There we go. And you turn it up, keep the gas from draining out of it, because like I said, this system is gravity fed. Now, to go any further, to get this linkage off, you have to take the carburetor off. So, I have to get me a socket. As you can hear the little tink-tinks, it's raining here. I don't think it's quit raining, but just a short period of time in the last 2 months. what I ended up having to do, because these bolts right here are in a weird spot, and I don't have a universal that'll actually bend and go in there with a socket. So what I ended up having to do is you can take it off with a wrench or a Torx, and this is the size Torx head it is right there. I don't know exactly what size that is, but it's I would imagine it's probably somewhere between a T8 and a T10, somewhere along in there. But anyway, I've already broke them loose, and now I'm going to take them out. I'm going to take the carburetor off and disconnect it and get ready to put the new one on. I've had this carburetor off several times. As I said, it's pretty much given me problems since the first day I opened this thing up and, you know, used it the first time. This carburetor has always surged. If you don't understand what surging is, the motor doesn't run smooth when it's not under a load. It goes boom, 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 like that. I know that's a weird sound coming from a grown man, but you know, that's what it sounds like. But anyway, I have rebuilt this carburetor twice. I have cleaned it probably 5 times to no avail. It surges no matter what I do. So when it got to where it would crank up. As long as it stayed on choke, it would run. But you take the choke off, even take it to pre-choke, it wouldn't run. It would cut off. So I knew then it was time to replace it. The only thing that holds this thing on here is this little throttle rod, this governor rod right here. And I'm not sure exactly how tricky it's going to be to get off, but I'm going to do my best. You have to twist it. There you go. See, it's easy. Now, always remember, whatever you do, before you go putting the new carburetor on there, you do a mirror image and you compare them to make sure it's the exact same thing. And it is the exact same thing. Absolutely dead on perfect. So, this kit also, this new carburetor also comes with new gaskets and new bolts. But I'm just going to use what was already on the machine. So, now what I like to do, I take my bolts. I don't like putting any kind of silicone or anything on there because it causes more problems in the long run than it cures. So I just take my bolts, I stick them through there. Well, first, before you do that, I'm getting ahead of myself. Make sure your linkage is connected properly. Put it through that hole. Again, remember to hold your tongue right. That's a saying from my daddy. So you gotta hold your tongue right when you're trying to put stuff together. Now, put your gasket in there like that. Put your bolts in. Make sure the holes are lined up correctly. There we go. Now, you just line up them bolt holes like that, and you take your Torx head wrench now. You don't snug them all the way up. At least I don't. I run them, get them fairly even with each other, because if you seat that gasket, if you seat it in unevenly, it'll draw a vacuum and it won't run. Oop, I think I got these bolts. I think I got them in the wrong holes. One may be a different style than the other. I'm not sure. Look the same to me. Try that one more again. I'm tightening up too quick. Well, let me switch them out and see what that does. I thought they were exactly the same. See, you learn something new every time you do stuff like this. That's why I'm doing this video. But if I can do something and save you a little bit of headache, if you ever have to do anything like this, even if it isn't on a pressure washer, it could be on a lawnmower. Fixing to find out if they're the same. Now, don't pull the carburetor off, pull it out. Them bolts are identically the same. Let me see if they're the same length. They are identically the same length. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. See, that gasket's already seated on that intake spacer, so I'm going to put this back in there. This is the bolt that was in this hole over here that wouldn't tighten up. So we're going to make sure it ain't cross-threaded. Put this one over here, and now see what we got. It's the same thing no matter what, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it up in there. It must have some lock tied up in there or something, causing it to be tight. Hope it doesn't strip out. Okay, that one tightened up. Good. All right. That's that. Now on to the next step. You reconnect your gas line. You find your pliers, whatever I did with them. There they are. Reconnect the gas line, make sure to always remember when you're putting the squeeze clamp back on. When I was taking it off, it was over here. I don't know how it got over there. Maybe the vibration twisted it, I don't know, but oops, too far. There we go. Always remember those connection ears are sticking out that way. Now, always examine the seal that was on it, and it's no good, so that's why I'm taking it off. But it comes with a brand new seal right there. Gasket, seal, however you want to say it, it comes with it. You put it on there, you line it up, and then remember the little screwdriver trick. Now this one's a little different because you're using a new gasket, and it may be a little ornery. So what I like to do, again, is put both my bolts in there and then put my gasket on top of the bolt, over the bolts, and that holds the gasket in place. Then you bring it over here, you line one side up, get your socket snugged on it good, and then you start one side into the carburetor. And you start your bottom bolt. And it's the same procedure for putting this on that it was for installing the carburetor on the intake manifold. You turn it until it stops, like that. Then you turn this one. And when it stops, you turn it a quarter more turn, and you come back up here. Make sure you get your socket on the bolt head. You turn it a quarter of a turn, and you come back here, turn it another quarter of a turn, and you come back here, turn a quarter of a turn until it's snug. That one's snug. Now, this one here is not, so go ahead and snug it up, turn it tight, turn it tight, and you're done. That's it. That's all there is to it. Now, I'm going to pause in a second, I'm going to clean up my mess, and then I'm going to turn the gas on, and we're going to see if this rascal will fire up and run. I've got the gas turned on. I'm going to let it sit for a minute, fill up the bowl with gas, make sure there's no leaks anywhere, make sure there's no gas coming out of the front of the carburetor. That would indicate that there's something wrong with the float needle seat inside underneath the carburetor. If there's no gas leaks, then I'm going to choke it and see if it'll fire up. The reason why I'm not putting the air filter on just yet, if when it cranks up, if gas starts coming out of the front, I don't want gas saturating the air filter. That's why I'm waiting. I want to make sure it's going to run. It won't hurt the engine to run a minute or so with no air filter. Plus, you can't run it that long anyway because the pump is dry. It's got nothing to keep it cool. So it's not a good idea to do that. You want water circulating through that pump. That's what keeps it cool. So I'm not going to run it that long, so it's not going to hurt either way. Let's give her a whirl and see what we got. Got her choked, full. It may take a minute to I had to stop the video for a couple of minutes because I had a little hiccup. One of the things that comes in these kits is two little choke butterflies like this. I got it real close to the camera so you can get a good look at it. You really don't see much difference in that choke butterfly. The only difference is, let me get my old carburetor so you can see it. You look how small the holes are in that choke butterfly compared to that choke butterfly. You see the difference, those holes right there? That's the difference. Now what it was doing, it was causing the engine to flood out and it wouldn't start. I checked the spark plug, there wasn't really any gas on it, but the gas was so full of gas in the carburetor that it couldn't get to the spark plug. So I changed that out. Now, I'm going to choke it. I'm going to crank it up. I'm going to pull the rope and see what it does. Here we go. Choke. Gas. There we go. No surging. Running smooth. So that's how you replace your carburetor on a pressure washer or a lawnmower engine or a go-kart engine, whatever. But anyway, one thing I failed to do at the beginning that I'm going to do now. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button if you like the content of this video. hit that subscribe button, please subscribe and watch my videos, and hit that notification bell so you don't get excuse me, it's cold out here, I'm tired, I'm ready to go get cleaned up, but hit that notification bell so you get notifications of new content. All right, that's the carburetor replacement on this style of engine. Most of them are pretty much the same, whether you have a pressure washer, a generator, a go-kart, or anything like that. They're pretty much the same. But anyway, had that one little hiccup, but got it straightened out, got it figured out, and got it corrected. But anyway, this is going to do it for this episode, guys. This is Brian with Big South Outdoors TV saying live big, live southern, and live outdoors no matter how wet it is. Have a good day.